Thus, looking at the image again that Yeshua had shown us, we see the head of the United Nations being led by the United Nations Security Council. Basically the body consisting out of the General Assembly being an arm that reach out to fulfill and reach its purpose and goals. Another arm being the Economic and the Social Council. And we see that the heart is the International Court of Justice. And then the legs, or the 10 toes, consisting out of many other specialized agencies. We see all the different agencies being the feet of this system. And although this is not the image of the beast, we can see how it consists out of all these different parts. We'll now see exactly what Yeshua had shown us and why a man was standing on top of a submarine. The UN Security Council, being the head of the United Nations, are chosen in a very specific way. We know that there are 5 permanent members, but there is also 10 non-permanent members. In order to choose the 10 non-permanent members, they must be chosen from regional groups. It says that 10 other members are elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms starting on the 1st of January, with 5 replaced each year. So we see that every second year, 5 of these members are actually replaced. The members are chosen by regional groups and confirmed by the United Nations General Assembly. So it's also very important to understand how the choosing of the 10 members from the regional groups works in order for us to understand the image of the beast that Yeshua had shown us standing on 2 legs. Each year the UN General Assembly elects 5 new members for a 2-year term, and these elections always begin on the 16th of October of the year and continue until the 2/3 majority of the number of countries for each region has been reached. Re-election is allowed, but the term must not be consecutive. So we see that there are regional groups. If we look at the regional groups now, called the African group, the Asian group, the East European group, the Latin American or Caribbean group, and the West European and other groups, we can see how every odd year and every even year members are replaced, so that there will always be 10 members that are part of the UN Security Council. It's also very important to see that from the African group or the Asian group, there must always be chosen a representative of the Arab nations, alternatively between these two, either from the African or the Asian group. In order for us now to understand the image that Yeshua had shown us in the heavens of a man standing up, having 2 arms and 2 legs, and standing on a nuclear submarine, we must read again the prophecy that was given to the prophet Daniel in Daniel 7 verse 4, saying, "The first was like a lion, and it had an eagle's wings. It looked like the wings of it were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand upon 2 feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it." Daniel saw 4 beasts coming up out of the sea, the first beast being a lion having eagle's wings. But what is amazing about the vision, Daniel later saw how this beast's wings were actually plucked from it. And then this lion was lifted up from the earth, and it was made to stand on 2 feet like a man. And then the heart of a man was given to it. In order for us to understand the prophecy and how the UN Security Council will fulfill this, and how Yeshua had shown us how this Security Council consists basically out of 5 permanent members and then 5 non-permanent members. The 5 permanent members, starting with the UN Security Council General, Ban Ki-moon, is not part of one of the nations, but is only the leader of the Security Council. Then follow the 5 permanent members, starting with the United States of America being led by Barack Obama currently. Then we have the United Kingdom led by Gordon Brown. And then we have the France led by Nikolai Sarkozy. We have Russia led by Dmitry Medvedev. And we have China led by Hu Jintao. So now we see this image having 2 arms and 2 legs and a head are actually showing us how the United Nations Security Council consists out of 5 permanent members. But we see later how the wings of the lion was plucked. The lion, being the head of the image, being the leader, we have seen already that the United States of America and Britain together have formed the lion with eagle's wings. But Yeshua had shown us how the arrogant one would at the right time, just like Alexander the Great's kingdom was suddenly broken off, but not in a war, will be removed, and 4 horns will come up in its place. We have also seen now that America will be broken off. The wings of the eagle will be plucked, and they will lose their power. And then there will be only 4 powers or permanent members that remain. Another very important principle to understand is that this man that Yeshua had shown us was standing on a nuclear submarine, indicating how this whole image of the beast is based upon and rooted on the nuclear nations of the world, consisting out of 5 permanent members and then 5 non-permanent members which are chosen from the different regional groups in the world. We will look in the rest of the seminar in order to understand how this image of the beast, which Yeshua had shown us, having in his one hand the bow, which we have seen as the USS Enterprise, the power that was given to him to conquer the nations, and how through the US leading the United Nations have conquered all the Eastern nations. We also saw on the other hand how there were symbols of the Jesuits and secret societies working together. And now we want to last put all things together and reveal that this image of the beast is actually an image that is set up by the Illuminati. The man that we have seen, the Vervian man, having 2 arms and 2 legs, standing with his 1 foot in a square, indicating that it is a Freemason sign, also indicating the very entrance into the temple to become the leader of the organization or the Illuminati, thus becoming a god, sitting in the temple saying that he is God. We will also see that this image of the beast having 10 toes consist out of the non-permanent members. If we see this picture now, we will see that this man is called the Illuminated One. Therefore, Satan himself, being called the light bearer or the morning star, considering himself the Illuminated One, will enter a man to take that position and leadership in the UN Security Council. We also saw that the 7-year covenant that have started in 2010 will be broken in the middle of the 7-year period, and then they will set up the abomination of desolation. And then when sin has reached its fullness will come the desolator. We're now basically putting all these things together in order for us to understand how prophecy will be fulfilled. This image, standing on two legs, standing on a nuclear submarine, also have 10 toes. And we basically just broke up these 10 toes in order for you to understand how Yeshua had said, just like the old Roman Empire that was divided into the Eastern and the Western Roman Empires, and one leg being removed, the Western Roman Empire. So 3 horns will be removed in the western leg of the image in order for prophecy to be fulfilled. Daniel told us that 10 horns will be leading the world at that time, being the 10 toes of the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. But 3 of the first 10 horns will be uprooted, and they will be removed or be subdued. Then we see that the rest of the kings, the 7, they will follow after the beast, and they will give their power over to the beast. And for 1 hour, the scripture says, together with the beast, they will rule over the earth. And this 1 hour being a period of 42 months or 3.5 years. If we briefly look at the 10 toes, we will see that Egypt and Libya, Algeria, Lebanon, and Syria and Turkey consist out of the western part of the image of the beast's leg. Then we see the eastern part of this leg being Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan, India, China, and Russia. Now in the rest of the seminar we will see how prophecy will be fulfilled and how the abomination of desolation will be set up. And when sinners reach its fullness, will come another one, the one who will make desolate. This image of the beast that Daniel saw is very similar to the statue that Nebuchadnezzar has erected for himself in order to be worshipped and to be bowed down before. And all that would not bow down before it, they would be executed. What is also amazing about the statue, that the very dream that Nebuchadnezzar had also interpreted a statue having a head of gold being Babylon, which is the lion with the eagle's wings. We have seen how the wings will be torn off. Then we see how it has a chest, arms of silver, consisting out of the Medo-Persian Empire, which is today's part of Iraq and India and China. Then we see it has a bronze part, which is the old Greek Empire, from which the 8th king will arise. We see that as soon as the United States of America has lost its power in the UN Security Council, 4 members will be left, basically being the members of the European Union, with Russia and China included. We see how when France and Britain forming the new alliance, just like Daniel had seen of a leopard having 4 heads and 4 wings of a fowl, France being represented by a cock, and Britain being represented by the teeth of a lion. Then we see it as 2 legs of iron, the eastern and western part, which we have already seen how the Roman Empire was divided into a eastern and western part, which is basically the east block of nations and the west block of nations, from which the UN Security Council 10 non-permanent members must be chosen. And this will finally bring us to a time when America is removed there will be 4 horns that will lead the world as the nuclear powers, and there will be 6 members from which the non-permanent members are chosen, thus dividing the world into 10 new regions under one leader. And last, which we will look at in this seminar, is how Daniel had seen a rock that was cut out, but not by human hands, that came and struck this statue on its feet of iron and clay and broke it into pieces. We'll see how a meteor will come and fall in the sea, as was prophesied. In order for us to fully understand the prophetic level of fulfillment of the final beast that will rise up out of the sea that John saw, having 7 heads and 10 horns, we now see that this beast that has 7 heads and have been given a death stroke. In the last part of the seminar, we will look at this death stroke that this beast will be given to one of his heads. But we've already seen that the 10 horns will be 10 leaders that will come from the 4 permanent members of the UN Security Council and the 6 remaining non-permanent members that will be part of the UN Security Council's non-permanent members. We also saw that this beast resembled a leopard, which was the ancient or the old Greek empire, of having a leopard with 4 heads. And we know that this Greek empire is where we today have the European Union, and as we've already seen, the proposed Mediterranean Union that is about to form. We see that this beast has feet like a bear. The bear was a symbol for the Medo-Persian Empire, which is today's empire of Russia. And Persia is where Iran and Afghanistan are today. And also looking further towards the east, we also saw that the eastern nations would stand together. And we will see in the last part of this seminar how these nations will be given a deadly blow. Then we saw that this beast had a mouth like a lion. We know that a lion with wings of an eagle was the Babylonian Empire. But we have also seen that Britain, the symbol for Britain has been a lion, with the United States of America having their symbol of the eagle. Thus, Britain and United States of America together were always leading the United Nations. Therefore, it has the mouth of a lion leading these nations. So this beast will still have characteristics of the United Nations, as well as the parts of Russia and Iran and China in it, with the 4 permanent members and the 6 non-permanent members all together being led by a new empire that's more like a leopard than it is like a lion. We see that it also has nails of bronze, which is the metal that was used as a symbol for the Greek Empire, showing how it will gruesomely attack, with swift attacking, just like a leopard will attack its enemy. We see that this beast will rule for a period of 42 months. We know that these 10 leaders will all give their power to one leader who will be the Antichrist. And under his rulership, they will rule for a period of 42 months. And he will be given the power of speech, and he will wage war against all the saints. Then we saw another beast that came up out of the land. This beast looked like a lamb. We know that Jesus spoke of how they are, outwardly they look like sheep, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. We see that it was like a lamb, but it spoke and roared like a dragon. And it had 2 horns. We've seen also that there is a black pope and a white pope that stand in the rulership of the religious systems of the world, with the white pope in the forefront and the black pope in the background. But this is also how the political power as well as the religious powers of the world will work together, as we've seen the cosmos sign of the Pope that he makes to say that they together will rule the world. It says that this beast will perform great signs, even making fire fall from the sky to deceive the nations. It says in the book of Thessalonians that in the last days God will allow the world to be deceived by false signs and wonders that will be performed by this beast, deceiving all the religious organizations and all the nations to worship and bow down before the first beast. We see that this beast also commands them to erect a statue of the first beast. We've seen that the world trading organizations are like a statue. It's an organization that is set up with its own rules and principles, and if you will not accept the rules and principles, it will be like breaking a contract. And those who break the contract, they will be brought before the court of justice, and they will be able to be put to death by the world system. Thus we see that the world trading organizations like the UN and the EU will combinedly become a new organization, which we look at as the Mediterranean Union. But even bigger than that, it will be a large conglomerate system of the UN Security Council, controlling the world with one leader leading it. And then we see that how all the people on the earth, because of trying to unite all the people, they will give them a new way of buying and selling. The one world monetary system will come in, and all currencies will be removed. The Apostle John saw what will happen in the last days and how a woman will sit on this beast and will control this beast. He says in Revelation 17 verse 9, the 7 heads are 7 hills upon which the woman is sitting. We've already seen how the 7 hills are the same 7 hills that the Vatican City are situated on. Then in verse 12, the angel continued revealing to John who this beast is, saying, and also the 10 horns that you observe are 10 rulers or kings who have as yet received no royal dominion, but together they are to receive power and authority as rulers for a single hour along with the beast. These have one common policy or opinion and purpose, and they will deliver their power and authority to the beast. We can see how in the last hour the 10 horns or the 10 kings will rule the entire earth together with the beast, which is both a system and also an 8th king, which is the Antichrist. We see that they all will have one common purpose or policy. They will follow the agreements that they have been subjected to, because they have been made to bow down to the image of the beast. It says they will war against the Lamb, and the Lamb will triumph over them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And those with him and on his side are chosen and called, elected and loyal and faithful followers. Yeshua is giving us the great news of how he will overpower and overcome and destroy the work of these 10 kings with this one ruler over them. But for a period they will wage war against Yeshua and against his people, and they will overcome them for a while. We see how there will be a war between those who worship Yeshua and those who will bow down and worship the beast, those who accept the policy and the resolutions or the contract agreements of the World Trading Organization, which they will accept at that time. Then the angel continued revealing to John, and further the angel said to me, the waters that you observe where the harlot is seated are races and multitudes and nations and dialects and languages. And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will be the very ones who will hate the harlot, the idolatrous woman. And they will make her cheerless, bereaved and desolate. And they will strip her and eat up her flesh and utterly consume her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his own purpose by acting in harmony, in surrendering their royal power and authority to the beast, until the prophetic words and the intentions and promises of God shall be fulfilled. We see that for a period they will strip the harlot. Those who have played the harlot, even being Christians, who were foolish virgins in Yeshua's eyes, they, when the bridegroom come to take away his bride, will not be ready and will be left behind. Then they will break out a great persecution against them, for they hate the harlot or the idolatrous woman, and they will make her cheerless, bereaved and desolate, killing all her children and her offspring. Then they will strip her and eat up her flesh and utterly consume her with fire. We will see how, in the next part, how the false prophet will resurrect to the power that was given to the image of the beast, a system that will start to persecute all those who worship Yeshua. And hating the harlot will persecute and start to kill and put to death those who follow after any other god except bowing down to the Antichrist. It says that all those will surrender their royal power and authority to the beast, and he will be a complete dictator over all of the nations at that time. Then God continues making clear who this woman is, as we have already seen, and how she will commit fornication with all the kings of the earth, saying, and the woman that you saw is herself a great city which dominates and controls the rulers and the leaders of the earth.